Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Lee
All right.
with Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. And extremely excited to announce a brand new speaker for JUNKCON 2022, which is October 12th through 14th in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've got Mr. Casey Walsh from Stand Up Guys Junk Removal. Thanks for coming and joining us on the Zoom call there, Casey.
No, I appreciate it, man. I'm super excited about the whole thing. Super excited to see if I can add some value for people coming and hopefully not make a fool of myself.
That's always the goal on stage.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
sure that won't be the case, though. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of value to add because, Casey, I've been in the junk removal business a long time. You've been in it much longer, and you have a bunch of locations out there. So, if you would, I'm assuming most people watching this have probably heard of Stand Up Guys Junk Removal. But give us a little bit of information, your background, your personal background, if you'd like, and then definitely on Stand Up Guys.
So I've been doing this about 15 years now. I started it pretty fresh out of high school, so I was pretty young. It took a long time, a lot of bumps and bruises to kind of get over that initial hump. That I know a lot of guys are, they're stuck in that now, or they're trying to get past it. When I started, my father owned a construction company, and he had a dump trailer that they would take runs to the dump whenever he had stuff. And I got to get some window time, so I get to drive it to the dump here and there. And there was a job at one point where the customer said, hey, can you throw this couch in there? And I said, well, let me ask my dad. And he goes, yeah, just tell her it's $100. And I was thinking, like, that's insane. But I told her anyways, and she said, okay, cool. And the moment I heard that, I saw value in it. I saw money, and it wasn't a couple of weeks later, I was putting out handwritten bandit signs all over where I grew up in Marietta, Georgia. And I didn't hit the ground running, but I hit the ground. And, I was 18, 19 at the time. And it took almost 5 years until I started to learn how to build a business and not just have a service. And, there wasn't a lot of advice out there. Like, there wasn't people like yourself. There wasn't Junk Removal Authority. It wasn't out there then. And that's, I was telling you the first time we talked about how much value I see in something like this. And it helps so many people because you don't have to go through that 5 years of just trying to figure out just the littlest things that others can help you with now.
Yeah, I know back when we started, so we started a few years after you, it was 2012. There still wasn't much information. The only information you would be able to get is if you went out and bought out a franchise. And at
Yeah.
21 years old, I guess you were 18 or 19, that wasn't in the cards. There wasn't $100,000 to put towards a Got Junk franchise or something else. So when you first got started,
I didn't even know they existed, to be honest with you.
yeah, when I first started hauling either, I didn't. It was after I'd done some research that I came across them. So you said the first job you did was a couch removal and you charged 150. Is that right?
$100, I think, is what it was. There's something around those lines, but I didn't get the money. But
Yeah, you were braver than me. The first when I first got started, because I was like you, paying anything to have anything hauled off seemed ridiculous to me. And I think the first job I did, it was just out of a pickup truck. I think I was charging $30 for a complete pickup truck load.
Yep.
And I think I did 4 of those, and it was like $120, and just felt like you were making all the money in the world at that point. So it was a long time before we started.
That's a big day. It takes a while to learn like what you should be charging.
It's easier now than it was back then. Back then, there wasn't any of the videos on YouTube or anything like that. It just was hard to find that stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, all right. So that's kind of a background how you got started. Can you tell us a little bit about your company now?
Yeah. So we have branched out since my one pickup truck. We moved to a couple cities now. We have 10 locations. We have a fleet of about 32 trucks and a little bit over 80 employees.
That's amazing. What are some of the locations you guys are in? I'm assuming it's we can look on that back wall. You've got Sarasota and a few others, it looks like.
Yeah, so we have 3 locations in the Metro Atlanta area, and then we are up in Nashville. We're over there with you in Raleigh, North Carolina, down in Tampa, Florida, Sarasota, Orlando, Jacksonville, and then we have our guys out west in Austin and Dallas.
So 32 trucks and 80 employees. In terms of managing that number of employees, how do you handle that? A lot of guys, it scares them to have 2 or 3 employees. What are some things that you do that allows you to have 80 employees and it be effectively run?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing, and that's where a lot of the hurdles have come over the years, is leadership can be easy for some people. to lead, a crew of guys. Let's say it's 7, 8 guys. What really becomes hard is, and a lot of the lessons I've learned over the years, is how to lead people into becoming leaders. And so that's kind of what we do now. I mean, we have people that manage each location. I have district managers that manage a few of those managers. So there's, the organizational chart definitely helps. You always got to make sure you don't have anybody in charge of too many people. You don't want someone that's just getting bogged down because they got to deal with 15 different people. And then you also don't want somebody just managing one guy. So you gotta play with it here and there. But the biggest thing that's ever helped me is writing out organizational charts where you can really start to frame it and the framework of who's in charge of what. And then that way they can hone in on the job that they're supposed to do. And, I can get in the weeds with it, but like with leadership comes training, and training is a very, very valuable thing that everybody should really focus on, because you're not just going to get that guy that comes through the door that just happens to know everything. And it's like, if you keep saying everybody that I hire is just, they don't know this or they don't know that, it's like, time to look in the mirror, because it probably has something to do with how you're training them or yourself.
100% agree. That's great insight. How are you locating people now? Are you having trouble hiring? I know that's been an issue over the last handful of years for most people. Have you had decent luck with it?
It comes and goes. Every location is a little different. The one thing that we do that I'm very proud of is we're really good with tenureship. When we get good people through the door, we do a really good job of keeping them. I got crew leaders that have been here for 8 years. I got a lot of 3, 4, 5-year guys. And so, yes, finding new employees can be hard. But when you get the good ones, or you get even adequate ones, it's like, do what you can to build a culture that people stick around.
Is there anything in particular you could kind of put your finger on that you guys do that keeps people from staying 8 years and 3 years and 4 years? Because a lot of junk removal business owners certainly don't have that type of retention numbers.
It's culture. It's a culture thing. And I mean, that's a loaded question in a way, but I always look at it where they say, attitude reflects leadership, and leadership builds culture, and culture builds success. So it's like, it really all starts with the guy at the top. It starts, you got a person in charge, like the attitude of the people around him and the culture of the people that he's managing all begins and ends with his leadership.
Would you agree with the statement that the success of your business starts with taking care of your employees, because your employees will then, and your team will then take care of your customers? Is that?
I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
Excellent. So that's and that's something that took me a while to realize. But I think Casey, you would agree, if you're always thinking about how do I train them up, find good people, how do I train them up, and how do I create a great environment where they want to stay, and you're always thinking of them, then that's going to reflect on the level of customer service that they bring to their client, to your customers.
Yeah. And that, if you care about people and you care about your employees, they'll care about you and they'll care about their job, and they'll not only do a better job, but they'll also be more apt to stick around long-term, because the value you have in an employee that's here even over a year is it's invaluable. Once someone really starts to learn your business, learn the company, learn the culture, and they're there that long, it helps. It's tremendous how much value that adds.
Couldn't agree more. So that's a great insight there. Appreciate that. What's the worst mistake you've ever made? If you're like me, you've made so many, this is a hard question to kind of answer. But if you could just pick one out of thin air that you think is the worst mistake you've ever made, or maybe have one that you're certain is the worst one, what's the worst mistake you've ever made?
Well, yes, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of little mistakes. There's a lot of big mistakes. The one that took me the longest, I think, to realize was, because I know I talked about culture already, but I was not big on building a culture of safety early on. And as you grow and you start to have more guys behind the wheel of trucks, and like you have more trucks on the road, that becomes such an astronomically important thing. And it took a lot of bumps and bruises for me to realize how important and that is, but then also how hard it is to take the culture you already have and then revamp it. I mean, you don't just turn a light switch on. So, and that's a big thing I would tell anybody that's starting is anything that you want your business to be long-term, start doing it now. even if you're not there. If you think, okay, if I have 5 trucks, this is how I would operate that like that right now. And then you will build into that.
Are you much of a reader, Casey? Do you read business books or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I love reading.
Have you read the book Built to Sell?
Built to Sell. Do I have that on? Who wrote it?
I knew you were about to ask a question. I couldn't remember.
I don't think I have.
Built to Sell it's a very interesting book, but it's basically talking about taking your service right down to its core, most important part, and basically just shaping your business in such that at any point you could turn around and list it for sale, and you wouldn't have to wait years to get it prepared and have your finances in order and have your equipment in good shape or whatever. And I think what you just said, it reminded me of the reason I bring that book up is it reminded me of that. It's set your business up as if you're going to sell it, even if you plan on never selling it. If you set it up that way, if you have something that's going to be desirable to somebody to come in to buy as an investment, then you're going to have a very well-run business. And you might never want to sell it because you might just enjoy the income that comes off of it. And it's easier to run. There's less stress. So yep. I couldn't have said it better. If you act like a 5-truck operator, even when you're a 1-truck operator, that's perfect.
Exactly. I like that a lot. That reminds me of the E-Myth. They talk about that a lot in that book too.
Yeah. E-Myth, Michael Gerber's E-Myth and everything exact same. So by the way, Mike Michalowicz have you read Profit First? I
have. I saw that he was going to be there.
Yeah. He's exciting. Yeah. So he's going to be at JUNKCON too. So we're looking forward to, to having him. You mentioned a little bit on the safety aspect. What's the worst year you ever had in terms of accidents with your trucks?
The worst, the worst part was, I had a year that we exhausted our entire policy, but mainly off of like 1 or 2 accidents, and one of them wasn't our fault and one of them was. So it's like, that's one of those things where you don't want to exhaust $1 million policy. It's not good for the next few years. It's rough. So that's again why it's like you have to be safe yourself, but then you have to train your guys to be safe, train your people, and create a culture of safety, and you can avoid a lot of the mistakes that's happened to me.
Yeah. Casey, we went 5 years with junk doctors without a single at-fault accident. I think one lady maybe rear-ended us, and then we were involved in 3 accidents that were all at fault within about a 2-month time frame. One of which totaled, one of them totaled our truck. The other one, it was wet and they rear-ended a Cadillac Escalade and pushed them into a minivan. So it was a tremendous amount of damage. And that's when I had to start getting serious about safety as well. So I think that's something that if we can get people to pay attention to that early on, it's going to save a lot of people a lot of headaches. And it's going to save us in the junk removal business our insurance rates too, because insurance has gotten very expensive.
This is true.
Because of the loss ratio insurance companies have had.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's like when you're thinking about building your business, it just doesn't feel like it's that high on the priority list, but it's right up here as soon as something bad happens. So you really want to just make sure that you're adequately working on it so that it doesn't become the big problem, because it can become your biggest problem very quickly.
Yeah. It's easy to kind of ignore it until it's right in your face. And if you can get ahead of it, you're going to be a lot better off.
True.
So Casey, what's next? You've done a lot already. I think you're a pretty ambitious guy. Sounds like you're still growing and expanding. What's next for Casey and Stand Up Guys?
So we do want to keep building. I got a lot of great people here that I want to build around. I want to continue to build our leadership program, like through the company. I want to continue to expand. And when like the good people that come through these doors, I want to maximize what I can with them. And that's kind of how we built the company. Like when people that want to build with us come in, we find ways to build around them. And, we just want to kind of keep heading on the path we're on and really maximize too where we're already at. I don't want to get too far over my skis, but so a lot of times you have to, we grow and then we slow down so we can kind of catch up, and then we grow. And so, I'm kind of in that catch up phase right now. We opened, I think 3 or 4 branches in the last like 18 months. So we're in the catch up phase, but a couple months from now, once things are caught up, we'll probably just start shooting it from the hip again and seeing where we won't wind up.
That's amazing. 3 locations in 18 months. Very inspirational. You should be, I'm sure you're proud, but I'm sure there's still a lot more you want to accomplish too.
Oh yeah. It just never stops.
Yeah. Yeah. Once that entrepreneurial bug has bit you, that growth phase, or wanting to grow and expand should never stop. If it does stop, that's probably when you're about to get knocked down.
This is true. That's very true.
Very good. Well, I guess the final question I have for you, Casey, is what do you hope people, or what do you expect people to gain from interacting with you and hearing you on stage at JUNKCON?
Well, I feel like, there's a lot of things that I've learned over the years. The thing that the value I'd really want to give, and what I hope that I can teach people or they can learn from my experience, is the difference between working in your business and on your business and what it can do. And I said, it took me 3, 4, 5 years before I really started to turn it into something. And it's like at that 5-6 year mark is when I really started to learn to look at my business, not down the scope, but 180 degrees and really work on my business, and how quickly things can happen when you do it that way. And then also the amount of money you can make other people. You could when you build your business, you're building people up with you. The tide rises all ships. And that's when I focus too slow, down the scope, things slow down for us. So it's like I always have to remind myself that too. But that to me is the biggest thing that I've learned that I hope I can teach to others, is work on your business, not in it.
That's great. You think you'll be able to go into a few specifics there so people can really take a few things back with them and kind of immediately implement it? We don't have to know anything. Saying at JUNKCON.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say it depends on the specific situation, but let's say you're alone on a truck, or you work on a truck, right? And you're the sole operator, and you own the business and you drive the truck. My first step for that person, I would say, you need to be in the passenger seat and let someone else drive, so you can work on the business instead of sitting there actually physically driving. That can actually make a big difference, because then all you need to do is replace the guy in the passenger seat, which is a lot easier than replacing the guy in the driver's seat. So there's those little aspects like that, because then as soon as you replace the guy in the passenger seat, which is you, then you can work. You can take a little bit more of a step back, and then you'll find yourself busy again, and then you hire some more, and then you take a step back, and then you hire some more. And then it's just that you just got to keep repeating the process. And, like I said, I've been doing it 15 years and I got a bunch of employees, but I find myself constantly, I'll be back in the fray where all of a sudden I'm working in the business and I realize I got to take a step back, and then things get better.
Yeah, that's so insightful on the small steps that you can take to kind of work from the point of in your business to on your business. I love the way you just broke that down. So, Casey, it's been amazing to speak with you over the last half hour or so. I am super pumped, and we're all really excited to have you coming to Raleigh for JUNKCON 2022, October 12th through 14th. If you guys want to purchase tickets, you can do so in the link on the description of this video. We're going to have hundreds of junk removal business owners. We've got Workies is the presenting sponsor. So there's going to be some great deals from Workies. We've got ADP as a sponsor. There's several. Switch and Go is going to be there. Junk Removal Trucks for Sale.com's there. We've got a marketing agency that's there. So there's going to be some great truck vendors and business service vendors and all that kind of stuff on site at JUNKCON 2022. It is the place to be if you're in the junk removal business, no matter the size. Going to be awesome networking opportunities. It's a 3-day event. Kicks off with a kickoff party on the 12th. 13th and 14th is at the Raleigh Convention Center in downtown Raleigh, NC. You can come. You can hang out with me. You can hang out with Casey. You can hang out with Mike McAlowitz, the author of Profit First. We've got Bennett Grove, Ricardo, Sonoma Strong, Pauling, and many, many others, all going to be on site in Raleigh October 12th through 14th. Casey, can't wait to see you there.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, we'll see you here in just a month or so for JUNKCON.
Have a good one.
All right. See you, Casey.